I don't know. Do we want to get started, or do we want to wait a minute more? What do you think? We can start? Okay. So tonight, I really wanted us to talk about, and I'm hoping some of our challengers will watch this too, and they'll get to see that in our group, but really wanted to talk tonight about our mindset as, well, for those of us that are on the call right now, as business owners and coaches, our mindset in that, but then also for our challengers, our mindset as we're going through, working on our health and fitness or our spiritual lives, all of that. I think the more that I work on my own health and fitness journey, the more I realize how much my mind plays a role in all of that. And so I know those of us on the call are believers, and so some verses that I think that come to my mind when I think about our mindset, like Hebrews 12:2, that was in a She Works His Way devotional this week about fixing our eyes on Jesus. Since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that entangles us, and run with perseverance the race marked out for us. And so as I think about that, the race marked out for us is our business, is our own health and fitness journey, helping our customers, our friends along in that way as well. And it says that our goal is to fix our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. And so I know that that's talking about the gospel and us spreading the gospel, but I think it applies to our mindset as well as we're doing our businesses. And then some other verses I thought of, Philippians 3:11 through 14, that talk about, I want to know Christ, I want to know the power of his resurrection. And then it continues to go on, not that I've already obtained all of this, but I'm press on to take hold of that for which Christ Jesus called me, forgetting what is behind, straining toward what is ahead. Again, that's talking about our spiritual lives, but I think it so applies to us in our businesses and in our health and fitness journeys. And then I also thought of Romans 12:2, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And, I've been doing the videos with To Be Mindset, and I'm not as far as I want to be, or as deep into that as I want to be. But so much of that program is about our mindset and the effect that our minds has on our nutrition, especially. And I think that this verse, Romans 12:2, really applies to that we're not conforming to the pattern of this world, because the pattern of this world would say that it's okay to run to food when we are panicking in crisis mode, or when things are going on in our lives, or it's okay to neglect ourselves if we're focused on, helping others. Then we don't need to care for ourselves, which is not true either. And so we've got to work on renewing our mind. And I don't know. So first of all, I wanted to ask, this is going to be a talk back kind of time. So congratulations, you get to participate. But I don't know, are there other verses that you feel like apply to mindset that you can think of that are impactful to you on your journey?
I really like the Hebrews 12:2. That one stuck with me since we read it in the devotional last week or whenever that was. And then I like, was it in Corinthians, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. That one's really, I return to that one a lot when it comes to food, and just
especially when I want ice cream. I remember that a lot. Are you there?
Yeah.
Are y'all there?
Yeah. You're frozen,
there?
but I can hear you.
Something weird happened. I don't know if we're still going or not. But so one of the things I was reading in personal development, I read Start by John Acuff, and one of the things he talks about is that a lot of times we sabotage ourselves. And so when something is going really well, then we sabotage ourselves and we try to throw everything off. And it's this mindset that we have of a fear of success. And so I think as a challenger, I know I did that when I lost a lot of weight, and I started having people take notice of that and start saying to me, Jeffri, you look like you're anorexic. Are you sure you're not anorexic? Are you sure you're doing this the right way? And so I actually called Jamie Lee and was like, I've got to gain weight because people are saying this about me, and it's not true. And so, like, instead of leaning into that success or being excited because people were noticing that I was losing weight, I told Jamie Lee, I need to just gain weight. So I'm going to go get a whole pint of ice cream, or, gallon of ice cream. And Jamie was like, maybe there's another way to do this in a healthy way. Could it possibly be healthy for us to gain weight? And so, but that was an example, I guess, of me trying to sabotage myself. I know for us as coaches, the hardest day for me as a coach is the first day of the month, because it means that I've pushed really, really hard on day 30, day 31 at the end of the month, trying to help people out. And so a lot of times when I've done that, when I've worked really hard, I've seen success, and it's been exciting. Last month, I got to help a lot of people in my busiest month, which was something that I didn't think I would be able to do. But then the start of August, I like shut down because it's almost like I'm afraid of success, or I'm tired, and so I start to sabotage myself. So is that something that you all do, or that you've seen maybe some other coaches or other people do as well, or is that just something that John A. Cuffin struggle with?
Yes. I usually fall on the other end of the spectrum. Like, I don't necessarily try to self-sabotage success, but I just never want to set a goal that I don't know I can reach right now, because for me, the idea of failing is worse than never starting. And so that was part of what held me back for a really long time, because I was thinking back to when I started my first challenge group, participating in it, not even coaching. I was not athletic. I didn't know anything about eating healthy. I didn't know anything. And what I did know, I wasn't good at. And so I didn't even want to start, because I thought, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if I fail? I wasn't really worried about the process not working or the tools. I was just afraid that I would quit, or that I wouldn't stick with it. And so for a long time, I didn't even start. I didn't give myself a chance to have any kind of success to sabotage, because that wasn't worth the fear of failure to me for a long time. And that is still something that I have to struggle with mindset, in every area of life. But that's something that the Lord's been trying with me for a long time, that my success or failure is not the goal. It doesn't change my worth to him. It doesn't change whether I'm effective or able to be used by him. Really all it is my pride. But yeah, it's hard sometimes though.
I struggle with that a lot too as a perfectionist. And I would say I think that is self-sabotage, because I'm keeping myself from doing what I think, I don't know, maybe I could be great at this, but for so long I've pushed it off, or put something off, because I don't want to fail. Man, I totally identify with that. It's definitely a mindset struggle. Anybody else? One of the other things, I'm sorry, Laura! Hold on, we can't hear you. Unmute yourself. There you go.
I couldn't tell if I was unmuted or not. So it's gone. What I was going to say is just gone. I just now got back on Shakeology because I was waiting for my vegan one. So mental clarity is lacking. But I think it maybe had to do with, my personality. I did a personality test recently. Have you heard of the DISC profile?
Yes.
So you're either a D or I or S or C, and I'm an S, and I'm just, one of the strengths of that is enthusiasm. I'm very enthusiastic and I want to jump right in. But one of the weaknesses is follow through. And so for me, that was one of the fears that kept me from, for probably about a month, from saying yes to Lindsay because my fear of not following through, knowing that that's a weakness of mine. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. I think, man, that with you talking about fear, I may come back to that in just a minute, but I think that's part of, in the book, Start by John A. Again. In that book, he talks about that we're trying to identify what our fears are and know what our fears are so that we can address them and call them out for being what they are, and whether that's a lie or a fear, something like that. And so, yeah, I definitely think our personality sometimes can lead us towards a certain mindset. And I know it has, another thing I wanted us to focus on, and I was talking with a challenger friend today and said, hey, how's it going? I know you're getting started, and she's going back to school and things like that. And she was saying that she hasn't had the opportunity to do 80-day obsession like she wanted to. But this week she worked out and did clean week 3 times, and she went golfing. And so, for me, and I think for her, it was a great day to see progress over perfection. And that's one of the things that's crucial for our team and for our challengers, and for each of us, that we're focusing on progress and not perfection. And we want to be better today than we were yesterday, or than we were last week, or last year. And when I think about my business, there are days, recently, like we're trying to talk to 5 people a day and invite 5 people or 10 people a day into this opportunity, and let them know, and the motivation to share with them what God has done in us through these products, right? And inviting them to be a part of that. And so I remember, or even today, sitting here going like, man, my goal was to talk to 12 people about this, and I only talked to 5. And then thinking like, a year ago, talking to 3 people was really, really scary, right? And so trying to focus on progress and not perfection. And I think that we talk about that a lot when it comes to our health and fitness, but it also applies to so many other areas of our life, including our coaching business, but also I know many of us are in ministries, and so we want to progress in our ministries or progress in our jobs and and move toward progress and not perfection in those things. So I want to fix my eyes better on Jesus tomorrow than I did today, or I want to have a mindset shift that's more focused on what Christ would want for me in this situation tomorrow than I have done today, or than I did last year. And so celebrating those victories when we see them and when we have them. So what have you done today that's better than you did yesterday, or last month, or last year?
So for me, it's so my business related. Like, it's been a struggle for me to figure out a rhythm because my life is always changing. But just that feeling, because I'm a perfectionist, and so I a lot of the time have struggled with, if I didn't do everything exactly how it looked on my planner for the day, then today was a failure because I didn't do it perfectly. I can't get the volume. But today did not look. Actually, I didn't even fill out my planner for today, but I was way more consistent with like being intentional to talk to people and being intentional with doing things that would build my business, rather than a year ago I would have just like maybe tried to talk to a few people and then got nervous and then like done who knows what, and then my time would have been gone and the day would have been gone. So even though I wasn't as productive or as focused as I would have liked today, if I look at it like from in that longer span of time, it was a vast improvement over what it has been in the past.
Definitely. Congratulations. Way to go.
You didn't bring your fairy wand.
Well, I just thought, as you were saying that, I was like, man, I have
A water bottle.
a bullet bowl wand. Good job. This is me. Good job. Garrett sprinkles with the.
Don't sprinkle me with that.
Yeah, disgusting. Callan, it. I have it. This has nothing to do with tonight. But Callan was using this as he's really into firemen right now. And so this was his fire hose today. Anyways, back. Anything else? Anybody else? Ways that you've seen progress today or this week over yesterday or last week? Allison is on here. Allison is on a team call. I think that's exciting. So Allison became an account coach, and she's working so hard with her health and fitness, and she is running she works, I don't even understand all that she does, but she works cancer patients, and they just moved into a new clinic. And I know that she's been working like faithfully drinking her Shakeology and working on her nutrition. So that's just a brag on her for a minute. So Laura, you mentioned fears and the things that we struggle with. And I think in that sometimes we make excuses for why we can't do things, why we can't progress in our business, why we can't work out in this time, or why we can't have a good nutrition system or plan at a certain time. And so some of those are legitimate excuses, or they're legitimate struggles, things that we have to work through. And so I've talked with several that are starting new jobs, or they're teachers and they're starting back to work again, or they're a mom and they're starting back to work now after having a baby, or they've just had a baby. And you know that those are all legitimate struggles that that can keep us from progressing. And then busy seasons. I know I am, if we can make it through Sunday, then we will be moving out of our busy season, but we got to make it through Sunday first. We got to survive. And so those things can all be excuses, or we can choose to see them and shift our mindset and start to see those as situations that we need to work through. And I want to, my son Callan, right now, as we're working with him and disciplining him or whatever, I find myself saying a lot, Callan, because you made this choice, we get to do this, or because you made this choice, we have to do this. And so some of it, you know, Callan, because you made the choice to, I don't know, to hit your sister, you have to go to your room, like because you made that choice. Or Callan, because you chose to watch TV right now, we can't go outside and play baseball because it's dark. And so that was your choice. That was the choice that you made. And so I've started trying to think about my excuses that way, that this is a choice that I have to make. So right now, today, honestly, I've done a terrible job of choosing to just work during business hours. I've worked all over the place trying to just get stuff done. And that's a choice that I've made. And because of that choice, I've sacrificed some time and some intentionality in with my kids or in other areas. And that's a choice that I'm not proud of. Other choices that I've made, you know, like this morning, I could have slept in, but I chose and made the choice because we had a long day yesterday. We had people over to our house late last night. Like, I could have slept in, but I made the choice to get up and work out. And so seeing those excuses instead as opportunities to make a choice, I think can help us in our mindset. And I feel like I've asked our team a lot, especially in these past couple of months, like trying to just own what my excuses are. Here's all of my excuses. Now tell me why I can do it in spite of all of these things. So for me, my excuses have been, this is my busy season. There's no way I can work out or eat well at camp. Like, how in the world am I going to do that? There's no way I can work a business in the midst of camp. These are all of my excuses that many of you have heard. Sorry. But I think it's good for us to start naming the excuse so that we can process back through the reality of that, like, and find pockets of time, or find opportunities that we can work or serve or work out or choose, make healthy choices in the midst of that. And so that's one of the things that I would really challenge you to do, whether that's tonight or tomorrow morning before you do your power hour, is, what are some excuses that you have for why you can't do XYZ? And then for those of us that are challengers and you're not working this business, what are the excuses that you have right now? Understanding sometimes those are legitimate things, legitimate struggles or legitimate situations. And can you work back through that situation and figure out, okay, there is a time here where I could work out, or there is a time here where I can help for the week so that I can be better prepared for Thursday when it's going to be my crazy day. So writing out your excuses and then going back and figuring out, okay, is there wiggle room time? And I think sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's a crazy day and things happen and you're not going to be able to accomplish it. But I think doing what you can to evaluate what's coming and evaluate what the choices that we have the opportunity to make is a good shift in our mindset. The last thing I wanted to talk about is To Be Mindset is all about mindset, right? And a lot of us are doing that or have access to Be Mindset. And one of the most valuable snippets that I've gotten from Ilana so far, or the thing that has stuck out to me the most, is that you're either losing or you're learning, is what she's talking about as you're losing weight. You're either losing or you're learning. And so losing weight is what she's referring to. But I think it's valuable. Either I'm you could even change it to either I'm winning or I'm learning. Either I'm being successful in my goals or I'm learning how to be better successful at my goals. So for me today, I didn't win in my business hours, but I've realized, even as I'm talking through this now, like, okay, tomorrow, what do I need to do? Well, I need to focus on working in this power pocket of time, or I am going to put my phone away and put it in a drawer so that I can specifically focus on my family, or I'm going to silence it, or, whatever that is. I need to sit down and process through what that really looks like. But because I'm able to evaluate and realize that today wasn't necessarily a win in that particular area, then I'm learning from it. And that's a good thing, and it's okay. And as far as, our bodies go, I've learned because, with To Be Mindset, you're having to weigh yourself every single day. One of the things I've realized is when I have a carb at night, like spaghetti or something like that, and I actually have the noodles, I'm realizing, like, I'm going to weigh more the next day because that was, again, a choice that I made at that time. And so I'm learning how those things affect my body. And I think, again, Lindsay, for you and I that are perfectionists, that's a good thing to know that I'm either losing weight or I'm learning. I'm either winning in being successful, or I'm learning, and it's not failure, it's learning. I think that's a key shift for us in our mindset. So in all of these things that we talked about tonight, I'm a student minister, and I feel like we have to have a takeaway, and we have to have something that we can practically apply. And so I talked about sabotaging ourselves. I talked about, Jamie, you're laughing because it's true. But we sabotage ourselves, or we talked about progress and not perfection, and even celebrating that. We talked about excuses that we may have and identifying what those are. Yes. Oh, Haley agrees with me that we need to have a takeaway. Okay. So again, we sabotage ourselves. We talked about progress, not perfection, excuses, and then either losing or learning. And so out of those things, which one will you focus on tonight before you go to bed? Which one will you think about, process through? Ready, go.
I definitely think the losing or learning, or I like how, you reworded it, because I don't think I've applied that concept to anything other than, weighing yourself daily, which right now I'm gaining and gaining and gaining. So I haven't really been applying that, but I love that. I love the example you used too with, you don't see your day today as being a loss or a failure, but as I wrote down how you worded it, an opportunity to make a choice. And even after a poor choice has been made, you have the opportunity to learn from that choice. And so I really like your point to making, applying that to whatever it is that we tend to think of ourselves as, oh, I failed there. It's only a failure if we don't learn from it. So I like that.
It may cut us off soon too, so don't. Sorry. Thanks for hanging with me. So I will say the thing that I am thinking about tonight is that concept as well. In the places today where I didn't win and want to do better tomorrow, and using that as a learning process. So that's one of the things I'm going to focus on. And I think, does it tell me when it's going to shut us off, or does it just do it?
It usually warns you when there's like 10 minutes left, and then it'll count down in the top left screen.
And it hasn't. Maybe we've got all night. I'm just kidding. I'm talking to you for a little longer.
You should be good. It cuts off at 40 minutes.
Okay. All right. So we're closing in on that. Lindsay, did you want to say something? Or Laura? No.
No. So I haven't fully processed this, but as you were talking, I was thinking, I really like that. Like, I have gone through all of the 2D mindset videos and I forgot about that. So that was good to be like, I like that mindset. But I was thinking, so for me, what usually happens, excuse me, is I think of it as like, if I didn't do it right today, then I just need to try again tomorrow. But I don't always like change anything. But like, if I'm looking at it from a learning perspective, like, so in college I worked as a writing tutor and I loved it because we constantly got to change. As I was working with somebody, we would try one way, and if their brain didn't click with that, or if it didn't work well, then we would change it up and we would do something different, and we would just keep trying until we found something that worked. And I think that is what I need to do more as I'm figuring out, like, for my schedule, like, is what I'm working on right now, and finding a good rhythm. Like, I don't just need to set what I want my rhythm to be and then just keep trying that same thing, and then if it doesn't work, keep telling myself, oh, that's okay, you can try again tomorrow, but never changing anything, because maybe what I thought I wanted, like, isn't actually what is going to work best in practice. And so I think that is what I need to start doing, is evaluating, like, what did work well, and let's keep doing that, and what parts did not work as well, and let's not keep trying to do the same thing that's not working. Like, let's change it up and see if we can, like, make it better. So that, yeah, thank you. That was good.
I was just going to add a quote that I heard recently. I think I shared it with my 3-week yoga challenge group, and it just said, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it's the courage to continue that counts. And I think it was Winston Churchill quote, and so that just reminded me a lot of what you're talking about. You're either losing or you're learning, or successful or you're learning.
So good. So good. Well, that's really all. That's all I have for tonight. But thanks I'm grateful, Jamie, that this is really a team and that you let us do stuff. What's up? Haley, what's your opinion? What do you need to tell us? What's your takeaway?
I don't really, my takeaway is trying to figure out, like obviously I just started a new schedule this week as well with teaching and stuff, and it's kind of crazy. So I'm trying to figure out how to fit my like little bitty power pockets into my schedule, and really be diligent with the time, because I have some time at school, a decent amount of time, well, pockets of time at school to do that. It's just figuring out how to use it most efficiently and use that for the business. So this week's kind of been all over the place in lull, and I haven't really worked my business a ton, but we're working on it. So that's what I'm going to work on tomorrow / next week.
That's awesome. You know, side note, I guess along those same lines, the TRF tracker, you know, that you off.
Yes.
Because that's something I've been struggling with, and so that was one of the things that I tweaked these past 2 days, is to start checking off specifically those things again. Because when I had to work in power pockets, that's what and it was effective, because it helps me to remember. I think that's part of my problem today, is I've forgotten what I was trying to do and what I needed to accomplish. And so when you've got that list,
right.
I don't know. You may already know that.
Oh, that's good. I have it printed out. I just have yet to like have a chance to sit down and do it. So, but that's on the goal list for.
You don't have a lot of time in the midst of coaching volleyball and teaching new classes and.
Oh yeah, you know, it's fine. Absolutely, that's okay.
Well, I like. Thanks for hanging out. So that's all I have.
Thanks for leaving.
Thank you.
Like we need a benediction.
I never know how to end. That's why I usually let it go till it shuts off.
Oh yeah. So, all right, love y'all. We'll talk later. Goodbye.
Bye.